Thank you so much for joining me today. Have you heard about the concept of the 12-week year? A scenario where you have to compress things you want to achieve over a year into 12 weeks, and you put yourself under strange dimension of pressure to deliver within that 12 weeks. And then you reevaluate with the 13th week, and then you jump into the next quarter. Today, I want to talk to you about why organizations need consistent evaluation. I am Dr. Joshua Kolawole. I'm a global lean, agile, transformational leadership trainer from Valdymas Intelligence, LLC. One crucial thing I need you to note is that for you to sustain excellence in any organization, you have to subject that system, the team, to consistent evaluation. Whether you're running a business, leading a ministry, you're managing even a family project, or you're building a movement, building a platform. Without consistent evaluation, you would find out that very soon you'll be running with outdated methods, or sometimes often irrelevant ways of doing things. Today, I want to share with you why consistent evaluation is not an optional thing for you as an organizational leader. In fact, at personal level, you're supposed to subject yourself to consistent evaluation. If you want sustained growth and transformation in your organization, evaluation is more than just checking appraisals or checking boxes in a pre-designed tool. Evaluation is supposed to be a structured, intentional process which is constantly evolving to ask, are we doing things the right way? Are we doing it within the right time frame? Are we doing it with the right cost? Are we doing it right for the time that we're in? It involves reflection, analysis. It involves a lot of openness to feedback, and especially a great deal of adaptation, because it's one thing for you to have the capacity to receive an evaluation report, but it's another thing for you to be able to implement the recommendation, especially based on the existing culture in your organization. So true evaluation is like a mirror. You want to see what's working, what's dying, what must change, because change is crucial to every great development. And so, if you don't want your success from yesterday to become the enemy of your improvement tomorrow, if you don't want to be too emotionally attached to old methods, old ways, then you need to be open to evaluation. Without evaluation, I can promise you there's no growth. And then evaluation also helps you to get to understand your blind spots. At every point, there's what we call ethical fading. There are ways in which we get too accustomed to something and then we forget some other areas, or because we have decided to focus on a certain area, we get blindsided by other things that we probably didn't prepare for. And with constant evaluation, we get to catch those things and then we'll be able to create a new strategic plan for them. A couple of times too, leaders become insulated or misaligned. And because you're surrounded by people who just want your well-being, they want you to remain happy, then it becomes difficult for them to tell you the truth. But when there's objective evaluation system, you'll be able to get rid of sycophants in your organization, or actually close to you as a leader, and then you'll be able to put yourself in check. Lack of evaluation would ultimately lead to frustration and not transformation. The reason why I said this is, I'm sure you know, I've always re-echoed this statement, that the passage of time is not what leads to transformation. It is actually evaluated experiences within those time that then leads to transformation. So what did I do wrong yesterday that we're corrected about? And then have we implemented a change? And then what am I improving going forward? I will soon talk about a framework that would make it simple for you to understand. But one thing I need you to know at the beginning is using a real life scenario. If you're a startup organization, if you don't subject yourself to constant evaluation, you burn out from wrong market focus. If you submit to evaluation, it will help you to constantly pivot, especially to understand what customer feedback is, and then it will save you a lot of funding, save you time, and it will grant you a whole lot of learning or opportunity. If you're in ministry without constant evaluation, of course, you may appear like you're doing well, but you may have lost touch with your true north. And that's one of the reasons why constant evaluation helps you align back to your true vision, true purpose, and then the core missions of the organization. With quarterly review, mid-year reviews, it helps you align back to discipline and get everyone committed on the journey of discipleship. So imagine a family that does not evaluate their spending. No savings plan, no budgeting, no planning, no appropriation of funds for things. Such family would soon run into a problem, cash trap, and all those things. And before you know it, it then now become more difficult to put in evaluation framework that would even rescue them. So It's better done earlier than having to subject it to later. But at any point where you find yourself to need evaluation, you can jump at it anytime. As a student, you need constant performance check, test, and all those things. If you're running a non-profit organization, so let's imagine that. Without constant evaluation, how do you ensure that your program is actually delivering the impact you set out to? And before you know it, over time, you can run into program fatigue. And so evaluation becomes a core thing that helps you. It's like a strategy that helps you to ensure that you don't run after things that are not corely important, one, and then that are also not things that you didn't plan to even do can creep in because you have failed to evaluate your system. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. I don't really want to go into so much technical terms. One-time evaluation is not enough. You have to create something we call a monitor and evaluation system. It has to come with some consistency, a great degree of clarity. You must be open to correction and then be ready for change. Ongoing evaluation brings agility into your system and builds a culture of feedback and ownership, especially when you allow frontline workers to give feedback, middle management level to give feedbacks to you, especially if you're at senior management. So evaluation has to be, you must have a constant rhythm. Is it daily, is it weekly, is it monthly, is it quarterly, and of course I won't support annual. At every point I would prefer the ones you evaluate on a weekly, on a monthly basis, because this consistent rhythm keeps your strategy alive. It's not just you have a policy document in either in an e-folder or a cupboard somewhere where you're not reviewing, because consistent evaluation is like an immune system. It keeps checking what's going on. So I want to give you a framework. It's the cycle framework for consistent evaluation. And I use the word cycle, C-Y-C-L-E, so that it will help simplify this, especially if you're a leader of an organization and you're really passionate about embracing the idea of constant evaluation. The first thing is you need to clarify objectives. You need to know what success looks like, so you can define a SMART goal. So it's clear from the beginning what you're aiming to achieve. Please document it as specific, as measurable enough, as achievable, as realistic, and put a timeline to it. Number two is you must be ready to yield to feedback. Because once you clarify objective, the first thing that will confront you is the reality. It's like once you set out to become great, there will be interruption in your cycle. So imagine if I want to drop a certain pound of my weight now, then I have to interrupt my cycle by saying, okay, I need to eat the gym, I need to stop eating, I need to do this. So there will definitely be something that has to change. So you must be ready to yield to feedback and honest voices. So yielding to feedback is not always something easy for organizations. I've done a video before about how people and organizations can respond to truth from evaluation. So you can check that video. The third thing is you must have metrics. Now, I love metrics that are both qualitative and quantitative, something like a mixed method metrics. The reason why I love that more is that as much as possible as I want the data to help me, I also want to feel the pain, the genuine pain of the humans and the system. Maybe the customer, maybe the employee, maybe the supplier, whoever is feeling the pain. I also want to listen to the impact of that pain, because ultimately people live more by experience than by logic. And so you want to be sure that they have a feeling that they're comfortable with and they can grow about. Then the fourth thing is learning from the data. So it's not enough for you to create the metrics to make sure it's a clearly mixed method metrics and that you can easily get accurate data from it. But one important thing is you must ensure you learn from the data. The data must help you with root cause analysis. For every challenge you face or every gap you identify, you must be able to do an RCA that would help you understand what are the things we really need to change. Then the last one is you must evolve strategically. So once you have that clear data, then create a strategic plan on how to move on. So you have CYCLE, clarify objectives, yield to feedback, check metrics, learn from data, and then evolve strategically. This framework works in every sphere of life. Either you're in business and ministry, you're a family leader, you're a national planner. All you need to do is clarify what you want, collect the truth. Don't collect what people suggest to be the truth. That's why you need a more accurate tool to get the data. So I don't just sit down in my office and just say, this is the price of petrol or gas, as it's called in the United States. So I actually go around or get a team to go on the field and then get the exact prices. So you really must collect the truth. You must reflect deeply on the courses, and that's why it's good. Have a value chain map, understand everything that happens along your whole value chain, and then make sure you quickly adapt. What does consistent evaluation produce? The first thing is realigning your vision. You see, it's very easy with all the pressures in this volatile, uncertain, and complex and ambiguous time for you to lose vision, lose touch on your core. And so when you open your heart to feedback with a lot of humility as a leader or as a group of leaders, it helps you to realign back to your core vision. It helps with responsive leadership, improved performance, healthy accountability. It builds stakeholders' trust and sustainable impact. So as I'm wrapping up now, a lot of times I talk with people and they say, so why do I have to invest this amount of money in evaluation processes, or maybe in a software or in something that would help me gather data? The truth about it is that when people see organizations that subject themselves to great accountability, it builds a brand in their mind. When they see that you even share your report publicly from time to time, it makes them understand the quality of leadership thinking that you have invested in the organization. So, evaluation, when done well, turns potential into productivity and inspiration to impact. When not done well, it hampers reflection even amongst your team members, it destroys learning process, and it prevents growth. When you integrate these three together, you will see that you are destroying trust. People will not just trust you. Trust is earned. And because it's earned, it means you have to keep doing something to earn it, right? To earn it means people see that we're constantly checking and we're sincere with ourselves in the process of checking. So I want to encourage you as a leader, as a young mind, a leader of whatever kind of organization, even leading yourself as a person, as a human. Don't just execute, evaluate. Get feedback, design based on the feedback. Don't guess. Please measure and reflect accurately. Don't wait till you hit a crisis before you build a review process into your system. Make sure you make evaluation with strategic discipline. So, if you're not evaluating consistently, I can promise you are drifting unconsciously. And so it's not just about working hard, it's about working based on information, ensuring you're informed. So one of the simple things I encourage people who reach out to us at Valdymas to do first is, for whatever organization you're building this day, build a dashboard. Build a dashboard, let there be data that are dynamic, that changes almost every day. And with those data, it would help you to keep an eye on what's happening at the front end level. If you're a leader and you don't see a dashboard before you every morning, every evening, you're probably not leading well currently. Because a dashboard with exact or accurate data representation of the things that are happening on a daily basis in your organization, or even on an hourly basis, would go a long way to help you to think on your feet. And then with accurate data and then asking questions to understand the qualitative nature of how those data are being reflected would help you to make a decision as quickly as possible. So I want evaluation to be your habit. I don't want you to react to it. It's not until something negative happens that you now start putting evaluation system in place. So what are my final words for you? You can't transform what you don't evaluate. You can't evaluate what you don't measure. And you cannot measure what you don't value. So everything still boils down back to value. And this is a statement coined by Dr. Joshua Kolawole. You can't transform what you don't evaluate. You can't evaluate what you don't measure. And you can't measure what you don't value. So I want to urge you as a leader, let's lead with humility. Reflect often. Transform deeply yourself. And then transform your organization. Because only evaluated systems would evolve sustainably. The organizations that will lead the next generation are not those who grow the fastest, or as we even popularly say, that those who grow their people, right? One important thing is, how do you even know you're growing your people? It's when you subject them to evaluation. So, I am Dr. Joshua Kolawole from Valdymas Intelligence. We don't just train leaders, we transform them. Through our lean agile frameworks, mentorship structure, and value-driven learning system, we help individuals and organizations build character, competence, purpose-driven performance, which ultimately leads to clarity. So we believe in leadership that is accountable, that is agile and that is anchored in the truth. And we're here to walk with you through clarity, through whatever challenges you have, and onto transformation. Why not visit us at www.valdymasintelligence.org to begin your journey with us. Thank you.